Hey, I'm Ron Howard, and we're gonna go through my IMDb page. How long are we gonna be here?
It's gonna take a minute, just a minute. A lot of people, especially today, they think of you as a director. Let's start off going through the acting credits.
Okay.
And do you know your first acting credit on IMDb?
It might be Frontier Woman.
That's correct. 1956, you were 2 years old.
Well, Frontier Woman was this grade C Western. My dad was cast as the bad guy. They needed a crying baby. So they rolled the cameras and they gave me this little tomahawk toy and then yanked it away. It made me cry. Funny how that'll work.
While we're talking about acting, we made some hats over here.
Oh yeah, we have, well, I wear hats. I wear multiple hats. Okay. It still fits. I haven't done any acting in a while, and yet the actor hat fits.
The Journey, 1959.
When I did the audition, in order to prepare for that screen test, my dad got a buddy of his and sort of pretend to have a camera or something. And then another guy came over and hung a tin can on a string and held it over my head and was shaking it. And then I would learn to do the scene and not be distracted by all that stuff. So it's a little bit like Tiger Woods' dad yelling at him on the backswing.
You did an episode of Lassie.
Lassie was no longer living with a family. Lassie was freely roaming the United States of America, solving different people's problems from week to week.
Wait, that's what the plot of
Yeah, it
Lassie
became
turned
Route
into?
66. She was a drifter. They made the show so fast. They just did one take. And if you got the lines out, they moved on. It really didn't matter. I had one emotional scene. I'm standing here and I'm holding Lassie. I gotta sort of cry, my horse, oh God. Cut, print. Oh God, that was so fake. I said, sir, please, I know I can do better. Just let me have one more take. No, kid, we got it. Now I'm thinking, the way it's been staged, I happen to have my hand on Lassie's collar. So what's the next shot? It's a close-up of Lassie. I'll just kind of tense up with my hand a little bit and sell the emotion. But all of a sudden I hear this bellowing, cut! Cut! The director comes running up to me and he said, don't you ever f***ing try to steal Lassie's close-up again. Now let's do another one and keep your hand still. So that was the only helpful direction I got on that little shoot.
I have a question about Music Man. Can you finish this line?
I never thought I'd ever see anything as scrumptious as this solid gold thing. Oh, sister.
Nailed it.
You know what? It takes a lot of work to get a 6-year-old kid to remember a line like that. So I think I must have gone over that one about 1,000 times.
American Graffiti. That was your first time meeting George Lucas.
In those days, he was really, really quiet. And he was so tired and so exhausted trying to make this complicated, ambitious movie all in nights. And he was editing during the day. He actually sort of said action, and the scene was over. Everybody looked around, waiting for George to say cut. The poor guy, he'd literally fallen asleep watching this take. We all lived at this Holiday Inn. Paul Le Mat and Harrison Ford were kind of rowdy guys. Paul and Harrison probably had never really stopped drinking beers from Saturday night. Laughing, telling stories, I was laughing with them, and suddenly they just start pitching bottles into the parking lot. I look up and they're out on the balcony, and Harrison yells down, dance, Opie, dance! And he starts firing beer bottles down there, and I'm bobbing and weaving out of there, and they never hit me, but they were certainly laughing their asses off.
Grand Theft Auto.
Grand Theft Auto was my first directing opportunity.
That's both hats.
Well, yeah, it's both hats. We'll just do this. Whoop. Whoop. And that's kind of the way I felt. Only time I've ever done that, and probably the only time I ever will. And I pitched a lot of ideas to Roger Corman. Sci-fi idea, a noir. He heard them all and he said, Ron, when we were testing titles, we had wonderful success with Grand Theft Auto. If you can fashion a car crash comedy starring yourself that we can correctly entitle Grand Theft Auto, that's a picture I would want to make. So about 36 hours later, I had an outline for a movie we could call Grand Theft Auto.
Then we have Splash.
We couldn't get that movie made. There was a competing mermaid movie. It was supposed to star Warren Beatty. Jessica Lange was going to be the mermaid. We couldn't get any studio to say yes. Finally, Disney said yes. That terrified me. They'd never made anything that wasn't a G movie. I can cover her breasts with hair. I can make sure that she's mostly covered. But, it has to feel organic and real, and she's of the sea. It won't be sexy otherwise. They had to invent the division Touchstone, and we were their first PG movie.
88 Willow.
What an adventure making it. My favorite scenes were in the Nelwyn Village. In order to shoot this, it was the biggest collection of little people aggregated for a movie since Wizard of Oz. Culturally, Those people are partiers. On the day when we had like the biggest collection, I walked by for lunch and I saw this Citron and it was kind of rocking. And I thought, wow, they're doing it in there. Somebody's there, there's a couple in there that they don't, instead of eating lunch, that's what they're doing. Okay, God bless them. And I came back and it was like a clown car. I'm telling you, it was an orgy.
Wow.
It was great.
You know, IMDb also lists traits for everyone.
Right.
And if you could read us your IMDb traits and let us know what you think of them.
Recorded final cut on all his feature films. Well, nowadays, yes. George Lucas was the first one to give me final cut on Willow. Frequently cast brother Clint in supporting roles, as frequently as I possibly can. I love directing my brother Clint. I haven't given away very much as it relates to Solo, but when I let slip that Clint Howard had a pretty nice little cameo, the fans were pleased. They won't be disappointed. Known for making films based on real life events. Well, sometimes, but I learned the lesson on Apollo 13, which was the first movie that I did based on real events. We were doing preview screenings. Not a lot of people knew about the story of Apollo 13. People really enjoyed the movie. There was one poor, you know, people rate it, excellent, very good, good, fair, poor. Just didn't like it. No, hated it. I flipped the page over and it said, please comment on the ending. Terrible. More Hollywood bullshit. They would never survive. And I realized, of course, that to him it was corny because he had no idea it was based on a true story.
Do you know your top grossing movie and lowest grossing movie?
That would be The Grinch.
Yeah.
Lowest grossing movie, probably Frost Nixon, I would think.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's such a good movie.
Well, I'm so proud of that movie. It was nominated for, 5 or 6 Academy Awards, including me as director. The movies take on a life of their own and they find their audience.
You're the narrator on Arrested Development.
That I am. I had this sort of aesthetic that was sort of born out of the internet and reality television, more unexpected, a little more like The Simpsons. Dense, use narration, use flashbacks, jump around. We had discussed narration, would we have it, would we not have it, and then Mitch thought, would you just lay down a temp track? Sure. Mitch called me back and he said, well, the show tested really well. The narrator was the highest testing element. They'd like to pick it up. You have to do the series. So I signed on.
I believe you're in a Jamie Foxx music video.
Blame it on the alcohol. Hype Williams is directing. There's this scene where myself, Jake Gyllenhaal, Forrest Whitaker, we're driving up in this Rolls Royce. I think I scared the director a little bit because he sort of said, now Ron, when you come into this, we want you to have your party face on. I want some clarification because, my party face is, hey guys, how are you? No. As we're driving up and the cameras are rolling and no smiling, Ron. 3, no smiling, Ron. 2, Ron, no smiling, and Ron, no smiling. Action. They just didn't trust me.
All right, now we're coming up on a big one. But before I get there, what's the deal with these master classes? I see so many ads for these master classes, and then I see you in one, and I said, I'm finally gonna find out what these are.
They're very legitimate opportunities and attempts to give these people who've dedicated their lives to a particular discipline to share what they know.
Let's talk about Solo, I guess.
Okay.
When you're about to go do this movie, do you call George Lucas?
I did. He basically said, follow your instinct. Don't worry about rules. He had produced Willow. He knew that I had kind of an affinity for that kind of fantasy adventure that's also character driven. JJ did such a great job, and Rogue One was an interesting experiment. To me, that's opened up a channel, an invitation. I wish more directors could have the opportunity to be directing a scene that includes Chewbacca and be able to say, hey, great job, and then have Chewbacca pick you up and hug you. More people should have that. That's love of a director. My wife Cheryl has to, she's the good luck charm. I put her in one scene that I was sure I would never edit out. We did edit out her scene. I turned around to the people at ILM and I said, it's hard for me to cut that scene out because she's my good luck charm. And they said, we'll green screen her in. We shot a plate and the magicians of ILM made sure that the good luck charm is in a scene. I hope fans get as much enjoyment out of it as I've had making it. I can tell you one more thing.
Yeah.
It comes out May 25th. That's a long frickin' IMDb list. I ain't done yet though. Onward and upward.